podcast hosts Gabe and Leo discuss topics that directly and indirectly affect the LGBTQ plus community. Their generation gap has them seeing the world through very different points of view. They fight, they argue, they laugh, and they get off topic. But they make sense. Most of the time. Are you ready for this episode of Let's Talk Trans? Well, let's get started. Welcome to Wednesday night. I think it's Wednesday night. Yeah, it's definitely Wednesday night. Here in fabulous Northeast PA, it does not feel like the end of April. I can't even believe that it's April. It snowed this morning. It was snowing at work. It's freaking nuts. And it's just like winter just doesn't want to let go. And I'm definitely feeling the winter blues. So much, in fact, that like I'm dragging my feet this week, and I'm just like, no, I'm just not feeling it. It's kind of sad. I was really looking forward to it. You know, like earlier this week, well, over the weekend, it was gorgeous. It was 80. In fact, Sunday it was like almost 80 degrees, and now we are in a freeze warning. And it's literally, like, it's nuts. No, that's not my topic, and I know, we're not doing transgender weather. Although that might be an interesting topic someday. Transgender weather. Couple of things. Let's see. I am noticing some changes. A little bit more in the voice. It was, for the longest time, that when I sang, I could sing kind of all over the octaves. I could sing really high, I could sing really low. Not so much anymore. My voice is cracking a lot. And so, yeah, I can't sing those high octaves anymore. And it's utterly ridiculous. I feel so weird in the car because I now have to find completely different or completely new parameters in order to sing because where I used to sing comfortably, I don't sing there anymore. And it's just, it's new, it's exciting, and it's funny all at the same time. So, what we're going to talk about today, or what I want to talk about today, is the difference in support for people who are transgender in kind of on different levels. So, you know, the states have been attacking transgenders for the last couple of years. This year looks like it's going to be just as insane with the laws that state governments are trying to pass, Pennsylvania being one of them. And like I said, as bad as it was last year. Last year, I guess, was the record number. I think this year they're going to smash it. I absolutely think that they're going to get away with it. States like Florida with the Don't Say Gay, Texas ban on transgenders, and I want to say there's one now in Alabama where doctors are being threatened with 10 years of prison for treating children who are transgender. But what I want to talk about isn't so much the negative side of it as the upside. And before you go, hey, wait, Gabe, how is there an upside to this? Because on the opposite end of the spectrum, the federal government is backing transgender individuals. The federal government is, Homeland Security is doing their thing to make it easier for us to be acceptable. Not acceptable, accepted. Again, with the X marker for genders instead of just F and M, and for other additional things or other additional ways of allowing us to be ourselves, and accepting us, making it so that employers can't discriminate based on gender identity. It's now written into policies in some cases. And like I said, the reason why I say that this is a good thing is because the federal government So if you know anything about what we call checks and balances in the government, the oh shoot, I'm bleeding. Excuse me. Oh, it's me. Is that Congress makes laws, the president approves laws, the court system or the judicial system checks to make sure that the laws balance and are copacetic with the Constitution. All three of those things have to align in order for something to happen. If the Congress makes a law and the president signs off on it or doesn't sign off on it and he vetoes it and Congress comes back and says, yeah, we still want it anyway, and then the court comes back and says, yeah, no, that goes against the Constitution, the law is FUBAR, it's gone, bye-bye, never happened. So the reason why I'm saying this and the reason why you're getting this bit of history and civics lesson is because with these state laws that are coming out in the manner in which they are, whether it's against transgender students or curriculums or mental health and procedures, these things are kind of going. They're going against our freedoms and our liberties, and it is only a matter of time. Now, again, you can't just go straight to the Supreme Court. You have to work your way through the system. So, but eventually, these are going to get to the Supreme Court, whether it's on a state level Supreme Court or the federal level Supreme Court, and these judges then have to look at this law and they look at the Constitution and they make this decision based on their interpretation of the Constitution. And I honestly believe that many of these laws that are being, and I'm going to say what they are being hatched or concocted, are unconstitutional. And that being said, with them being unconstitutional, they will eventually be shut down. But this is a long, drawn-out process. It doesn't happen overnight. Look how long it took for, marriage equality and things like that. So, unfortunately, currently where we stand as far as members being members of the LGBTQ plus community, we have to kind of deal with the downside of it while it works its way through. So that future generations or younger generations or the next generation or however you want to put it will have the liberties that we can only hope for at the moment. But like I said, before I didn't want to really talk about that quite like that, but before I do talk about that a little bit more in depth, because, hey, we're talking about Disney, and Disney maybe Disney's going to pick up roots out of Florida. Who knows? We'll see. I know Texas made an offer. Not that Texas is much better, but anyway, I didn't get a new job. I got transferred from one position, or one facility to another facility. And it was kind of interesting today because while I was at the facility, I was at the facility yesterday. I was at the facility all the time because, that's what people do. They go to work. And, I'm pulling out my squishy dumpling thingy here. Thank you, Miss Rogers. And, so, like I said, I was at the facility, and I was being introduced to all the bigwigs, the facility head honcho, and all his subordinates, and I was under the impression that he was aware that I was transgender. Apparently not, because he misgendered me in this meeting, and it was not sound for me to correct him right there. It'd be like, walking into the president's office, president making a mistake and about, a person personally and the person going, excuse me, sir. So I wasn't going to do that. But what I did do was I scheduled a meeting with him and then proceeded to say, hey, look, wasn't sure if you were aware, I'm transgender, I prefer he, him. I just wanted to make you aware of that because, you did use the wrong pronouns, and I knew it wasn't malicious, but I still wanted to make sure that you were aware. Correcting him, but I think I did it in a polite way. At least I hope I did. It was intentionally to do it in a polite way. if anybody's ever corrected their boss, it's mildly intimidating to go, hey, look, dude, you were wrong. Sorry. But see, the thing of it was that he then, and like I said, that meeting happened this morning. He then immediately goes to HR, and he's like, I didn't know about this. How do we handle this? What do we do? Oh my God, we've never had one of them before. And he didn't say that, but it was kind of the premise of it, because a few hours later, I get called down to HR to discuss policy. Policy. Dun, dun, dun. And the thing of it was, and kind of what put this particular facility in hot water was, at least in their mind, as far as policy goes, was the fact that this had been, signed into, we'd signed off on it. It had been announced. The whole thing was back in October, and they weren't aware. HR between one facility and another facility kind of dropped the ball. Nobody told anybody else, and so what they were basically CYAing at this point, making sure that their ducks were in a row, and they wanted me to understand that he had absolutely no malicious intent, and I knew that, but somebody pointed it out to me is, in the area that I work and what I do, there are two transgender people, two identified people who have come out in the state in what we do, and one of them, from what I'm told, no longer works there. The other one no longer works there because of a discrimination thing and a lawsuit to which that person won. So, in a sense, I think now that, like I said, this was pointed out to me, is, I don't want to say they're afraid of you. You can do terrible things to these people. And it wasn't, like, it didn't, like, it never hit me like that. It was like, that's not what I want. That's not my goal. I don't want, like, that power. I don't want people to walk around on eggshells around me, because they don't know how to identify me, or they don't. Just drop my last name. I mean, shoot, it's like being in the service. Just, if you call a person by their last name, then, well, hey, whatever. But yeah, they were like, the concept was, as it was explained to me after this meeting, was that I have this, like, ominous great power that people are afraid of, that they're gonna mess up around me, and I'm going to sue them. And that's not, I okay, but yeah, no, maybe somebody else is like that. I'm not. It's really, really not my style. I'm very confrontational. No, I don't say I'm very confrontational. I will stand up for myself, and so in that sense, there is a confrontation. But, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't realize this until afterwards. It wasn't like it was me versus a coworker or me versus a peer. I was correcting the facility, like the head honcho, like the guy who's in charge of everything. And it wasn't like, oh, gee, maybe I should. Gee, I wonder. Okay. It was, no, hey, I need to talk to you. Let's have a meeting. Let's be respectful, and let's be adults about this. And I guess that put people on edge, because maybe no one had ever really corrected him before. Or, again, there was no reason to ever correct him before. But, yeah, I didn't realize that. And so, like, that was, like, the conversation of the afternoon, was all this commanding presence that I have, that people are worried about offending me, and how I should use that to my advantage. Whatever. But that was, like I said, and I'm only, like, 3 days, I've been in this new place 3 days, and yeah, I'm already, like, rocking the boat and stirring all kinds of crap up. It's really kind of not fun, and yet funny at the same time. So, just say that, yeah, new facility, new coworkers. It's kind of nerve-wracking, because, like I said, kind of like starting out new all over again. But it's closer to home, and, that works with, Kai's medical conditions and what